Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Professor Sistrunk, and I'm talking to the student body. Okay, students, I got another packet tracer here. It's going to be simple, it's going to be easy, and it's going to be fast. This particular packet tracer, as you can see, is just deploying devices. This should have been one of the first packet tracers I created, but instead I did it later. Now, it's just going to be real simple. I'm just really going to have a discussion about some things that I want you to be aware of. The first thing that I want you to be aware of is the commands you should know right now. I understand that some of you are in my CNS 105, CNS 141, and like I said earlier, my security class haven't even started yet. So these guys have no idea what the professor's doing. But anyway, with that being said, I just want you to get used to the commands. As you can see, so far we learned how to use the actual question mark when we doing things. In most of my lessons, I've been showing you how to use that question mark. Believe me when I tell you this, it's going to be real helpful when you're trying to get some work done at a corporation. Also, you learn how to use the tab key. That's critically important because sometimes you don't want to type out long words, long commands. So you hit the tab key and boom, there it is. You learn how to do the configure terminal command. You know when to use that. You know when to use the clock command. You know when to use the show running configuration command. And you know how to set up just changing the name of a particular device. So if it's a router or switch, you know how to give it a name. All of these commands are important, so just make sure you remember them as you go forward. And yes, I know I got people who got in my 8-week class. They're a lot ahead of the game, but I'm trying to get you guys to remember now. Right now, you need to be recording these commands because you're going to use them all the time. You know how to secure the user mode, and you know how to secure the privilege mode. You know how to do that. Now, ending this and wrapping this up, you know how to put a banner in there, of course. And you know how to do copy running configuration, startup configuration, so you can make that configuration as your deployment configuration. So you know how to do that. And you know how to do your VLAN, your first VLAN, or in other words, put IP addresses on ports. So you have that. This is where we at so far. And I know some of you guys are ahead of me, but that's okay. I'm coming around and I'm catching up. And I'm going to keep running this. My goal is to hit 100 in 100 days. But even after that, I'm going to keep running it. We'll see how it goes. Now, let's get to this particular packet tracer. And I'm going to keep this real simple and real quick. This particular packet tracer is just basically making sure that you put the right devices on here. This is super easy. I mean, you couldn't mess this up if you tried. So let's go ahead and drop a few of these devices. We want to make sure that we got the right devices on here. As you can see, I have a router on here, but I'm going to go snatch some more routers. The first thing I'm going to do is look at the name. Now this is really important. That's why I'm talking about this. You have to know the devices you're working with. You have to know the routers. So here is a router 43. So I look for 4331. As you can see, it's right there. Simple little process. Drop that on there. And the next one is 1941. And you can look for 1941 right here, put that on. So you pretty much get this. All you're doing is taking the appropriate router and putting it in the right place. And you'll do the same with the switches. But remember I said early on, if you guys caught it, I said each router is a series of routers. So you may see a router that says 4300. But they have another router that said 4321. That's part of a series of routers. So Cisco make a lot of different routers. And if you get a chance, go look at the particular routers that Cisco make and build and create, whatever name you give them. So you see me just dropping these routers on there. Now I'm going to stop with that because you get the gist of this thing, knowing the routers. What I really want to make sure of is that you know these particular commands. I want you to lock them in your brain, people, because you're going to be using them. You're going to be building on them. Now, remember, I really want you to know these particular commands. So you're going to come across a configuration that you're going to do for your final exam. Okay, so now that we have looked at this, one of the things that I want to do is give you a bird's eye view of your assessment and what your assessment will be about. Remember, you got a final assessment and then you got a final exam. The assessment and exam go together to build your overall grade. So let's take a look at that final assessment, and we're reaching out to the individuals who are in my, let's say, CNS 105. This will be your final assessment. You should know how to build a physical network and initialize devices. You should know how to configure network devices, and you should know how to do a cleanup. And these are the things you will go through. So if you're taking a snapshot, there you go. This is everything in there. I'm letting you see it right now, giving you a heads up. It tells you here one PC, one wireless router. So you got multiple things that you'll be able to do for your assessment, skills assessment. Now I'm going to drop that down for my CNS 140 students. This is your final assessment. And as you can see, deploy an IP address schema, initialize and reload route devices, configure devices, test them, and so on and so forth. So you see what you have. And if you're taking a screenshot, you got a bird's eye view of what you will be doing. This is your final assessment. So I just wanted to show you that of what you should know when you leave this class. This is Professor Sistrunk. I hope that this Packet Tracer V Lab was helpful.